I'm Nicole.
I'm Geraldine.
I'm Lauren.
And we are
Doing the Damn Thing, an entrepreneurship talk show.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our latest episode of Doing the Damn Thing. We are so happy to have you guys here again. Reminder, make sure to watch all our previous videos because they're all amazing. Second reminder, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell. So today we are going to talk about social media. I know, as entrepreneurs, we all have to use social media. Some of us love it, some of us hate it, some of us are like, about it. But today we're really going to focus on Instagram. That thing that you're looking at your phone, you're looking at all the photos, and you're praying to God that the phone doesn't hit you on the face. That thing. Alright, so I have my friend today, Christina. She is an Instagram guru, basically. So she's going to be here. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
And we're going to talk all about Instagram and social media. So, tell them a little bit about yourself first.
Sure. So, my name is Christina Sundari. I'm a fitness model and fashion blogger. Been doing it for about 2 years now. When I first started on Instagram, I think it was actually back when I was still in college.
Yeah.
And that was back in 2009, so now everyone's going to know how old I am. But that was like the early days of Instagram. And I remember back then, like, not even my friends really had Instagram. So I was like one of the first to kind of get it. And then I was like, I don't really know what the point of this is. So I started like just kind of randomly posting pictures.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of how it was, like for a lot of people, especially like my age. And then when I realized that, you know what, I want to start a fashion blog, how do I do it? I saw that everyone was using Instagram as their main platform. Mm-hmm. So that's when I realized, like, okay, I need to learn this platform. I need to learn what kind of the big dogs are doing. And when I say big dogs, it was normally like an 18-year-old who would post a picture of like nothing and they'd get like 1 million likes on it. So I'm like, how can I learn from this 18-year-old right now?
Right. It's always like those young kids, and because they grew up with it, and it's all of a sudden they're doing such a great thing. And what I love about Instagram, I think the switch for entrepreneurs sometimes is it's not just you posting photos, it is basically your online portfolio. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how do you want to represent yourself as a brand, as an entrepreneur, as a leader? So let's just dive into it. What has been one Instagram trick, hack that you guys have learned or want to learn? I know, I'm going way out there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Charlie, you just started me.
I'm like, well, I know what I want. I mean, I know that there's certain profiles. Once you unlock a certain number of subscribers, or not subscribers, sorry. Followers. Then you can have certain things link in a different, you scroll up and it goes to the website, and like you have to have 10,000 subscribers like that. But, I don't know. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. I think for me, what I learned is that the color scheme with your photos, they all have to have like the same, either warmth, or what's the opposite of the warmth? The cool. And so I use Canva a lot, and so making sure all the photos that I use in Canva are like the same color theme, because one of the things I learned is if I put a photo on Hootsuite and have it scheduled out, I can't go back on my Instagram and change the filter. So I had to use Canva to change the filter, and then I could schedule it out. So that way they all look the same. Mm-hmm. And because when people are looking at your theme, there's a reason why certain accounts are like really pretty, because they all have like a pink coloring, or they all have like really, what is it, like sort of like use that X Pro filter, and it's like really dark, and it like it's really catches the eye, but it all flows. So that's something I learned sort of the hard way, and also making a lot of mistakes. But then one thing I want to learn is the description. What to put in the description that makes it really catchy.
The description, like the caption?
Not the caption, your bio.
Oh, your bio, okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I've been experimenting with my bio recently, because now I'm getting really, really into YouTube. I'm using it to link my videos. But before that, I would have little like blurbs about myself. Like I'm a model, blogger, blah, blah, blah. But so I'm always kind of changing that out just to see like what's catchy and like what resonates with people. And a lot of the times that I've noticed the folks that I follow, it'll have something short about themselves, so I know what they're about. Like, okay, this person's a blogger. Okay, this person's a model. Oh, this person makes videos. So that's kind of helpful. So I'm like, okay, so it's interesting for people to know like who you are and what you do, and then maybe something to kind of give a glimpse into your personality, maybe. So I love like cute little quotes. I love just like little tidbits about the person, if it's like a joke or something, just anything to like kind of help you get to know that personality a little better.
So having that in the description. Yeah.
One thing that I've seen that I think is really cool is like how magazines have like they have a special account that you can like go and actually see the magazine on. Have you guys seen this?
No, like you could flip through the pages.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It must be some special.
They probably did some kind of partnership,
like an enterprise account or something. But just thinking about all the different ways, I think there's capabilities that business accounts have maybe that you can do different layouts and stuff. So I guess I'm curious to figure that out. I guess today's not going to be the day since no one here knows. But look at it. Sponsorship.
You guys know it. Comment below.
I know, like, what type of ad targeting are they doing towards you that we're not getting?
Yeah.
I know. That's a good
That sounds pretty cool, though.
I think I saw it on. No, I think I saw it like in. I'm like just searching like on the web or something. I happened to click on some magazine and then saw their Instagram account and clicked on their Instagram account. I think it was like Elle or some like bigger magazine, but still the fact that exists, that ability, I would like to know how to do that.
And that's what I think is so amazing about Instagram too, is that it's really given a lot of different creative folks full reign on what they can do with their creative abilities. Like I have a friend who is a DJ, and this is actually very cool the way he uses Instagram. So now with highlights, he puts little excerpts of his songs on there. So when he reaches out to restaurants and bars, he'll just say, check out my Instagram, and then just click on my highlights, and you can get a sample of my music.
Are highlights the same as stories, or
different?
Okay.
So it's similar because you can post it to your stories, but the highlights are actually on your account. Okay. So when you go, like my account is Classtige, right? So if you go to @Classtige, you'll see my account, and then you'll see all my highlights actually on my account too.
And is there a time limit for the highlights?
Not that I know of, because I have some highlights that I've had going for months, and I haven't reached any.
So how about the duration of the highlight itself? Like
how
play it?
I mean, I think that's kind of restricted to, because all the highlights that I've done have been on my Instagram stories first. Yeah. So I think it's limited to like 15 seconds per story. So
it just is like pinned at the top of your account, basically.
Okay.
So a lot of businesses will use it where you could click on like one highlight, it's about job opportunities. Another highlight is about contributing. Another highlight's about meet the people. So it's, think of it as sort of like if you have a website and the About Us page, Contact Us page, and all that good stuff, but it's in a highlight. And then you can put it on your story as well.
I appreciate that they do time limits on Instagram, actually. I feel like just thinking about the difference between Instagram and Facebook, and like, Facebook made it really hard for businesses to use them as a resource, really. Like, you can't tag people.
Right.
It's like, which makes it limited to how many followers you have and blah, 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 and all that. So, like, as a business coach, I always recommend that people not use Facebook. I mean, you still have to have a Facebook page, because I think we expect people to have it, but it's just not very, like, if you're trying to grow your audience, that's not the place to be if you just want to do it. But Instagram, I like how they keep it short and sweet. You kind of are limited. That makes people have to be a little more creative. And then also I am seeing how we're using it for our show, and how like getting more familiar with like you and Shika and all of these different people that are really utilizing it for their business. It's like creative and fun, more fun.
Yeah. And what I really like about it is exactly like you said, like it forces you to be a little more creative. Like, okay, I've got 15 seconds, like what do I want to get out in 15 seconds? Whereas a channel like Snapchat, for me personally, I use it for really allowing my audience to get to know me on a personal level. So I might be like, I'm heading over to go shoot this podcast, and I had to run all these errands first, but I would never show any of that on my Instagram stories. On my stories, I might say, hey, I'm actually shooting the podcast. Okay. So they see kind of what I'm doing from more of like a business perspective, where Snapchat kind of lets them see more of like
behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah. And I use similar with my Snapchat, because you see my Snapchat and my Instagram stories. I'm trying my hardest to be better Instagram stories, but I love the lenses on Snapchat because they make me look prettier. But I like being the bunny and stuff. Instagram, like that team that comes with the lenses, like go to work, do a better job. So
You heard it here.
It's like that's one thing that you're struggling with. But I love Snapchat mainly for the behind the scenes, and then Instagram stories is more geared towards the business, just because it's tied to your whole account, like your business account. And while Snapchat isn't really tied to anything, like people aren't going to go to Twitter or Facebook and see your Snap unless you put it there. While Instagram, they could probably also see it on Facebook because of the
Double posting.
Yeah.
One thing I really love about Instagram is you can really get a sense for who the person is just by looking at their feed. Like if you look at the view on their profile and it has all the different squares, like literally you can just scroll through, okay, they like to eat at nice restaurants, they like the outdoors, and also they teach school kids. It's really easy, and it's a really great way to figure out if there's any type of relatedness you can have with somebody. Like, oh yeah, this person seems really interested. Let me see if we have things in common, and I'm going to reach out to them because I thought that was a really cool post. I love that.
So with your business post or even your personal post, do you guys ever think of like the theme, like because it goes into your personal brand, right? So I took like this class once, and there's like the 3 type of photos I would always post, just her with friends, but they might be like professionally done because she's like pretty high influencer, so she can have that, like her with her dog and like scenery or something like that. But they're always mixed, and she's like, people are going to look at the first 6 photos, so make sure that it sort of matches. So I wonder, like, do you guys do that, or am I just like the weird person?
Kind of. I have like different parts or different things that I'm interested in that I know are I want to make sure that I have a well-rounded representation of that in my Instagram. So every now and then, at least 2 or 3 times a week, I'll look at the profile and I'll just kind of scroll. Like, oh, okay, I haven't really posted anything about that interest of mine or this interest. Oh, dang, I have too many of doing the damn thing, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of mix it up that way. But that's something I really want to be able to perfect a little bit more.
Well, go ahead. Actually,
No. Do you guys use any of the planning apps, like so that you can actually see what your feed is going to look like before
tell
you
us.
post? Okay, so there's an app. It's called, it's just called Preview. So what's really cool about it is before you post anything, you can actually see how your feed is going to look beforehand. So I really, really like that because before I started using that, I would, such a bad habit. Sometimes I would kind of I would think okay, I think this post will look good if I post it, and then I would post it, and then I would realize, oh my gosh, I have a post that's almost the exact same right underneath. Delete. Delete it right after.
So terrible.
Because I'm like, I hope nobody saw it, even though I'm sure somebody saw it somewhere.
So they're judging. They're still judging.
Yeah, they're like, okay, she
unfollow.
They're like, she screwed that one up.
Like, this chick wore the same outfit in a week. Forget it.
Done. Yeah, so that's an app that I really like to use to help kind of plan, help plan my content on a weekly
Is it just a mobile app, or is it on like okay?
Well, and so what I was going to say is that I think we should talk a little bit about planning in general, because that's a huge piece of what does it look like to create an Instagram social media content plan, or just a social media content plan in general, and how does that tie in? The first step that I will speak on is getting really clear on your brand and knowing what 5 adjectives you want associated with your brand, so that everything that you're doing is always kind of in alignment of that. Like you guys said, maybe being clear on the type of post that you have and how that interacts and tells a story without telling a story. A picture is worth 1,000 words, right?
Yeah.
That's why Instagram is so cool.
Right.
So maybe talk a little bit about, for everybody here, because I would say you 3 are way more social media interactive than I am, which, what do you guys do?
So I have 2 Instagram accounts, so one for the magazine and then one for myself, but this year I changed my account for myself as a business account, so that way I can have the public figure title underneath. And that was something I had to be cautious about, because I'm like, do I really want to do that? But I was going to more and more events, and I just felt like it was just necessary. But for the magazine, one of the things I always look at the calendar is, I think about the months that are coming ahead. what exactly I want to promote during those months. If certain months are going to have themes. So for example, like July is going to be travel, so all the photos for that month is going to be something about traveling. And I chose that because July, everyone's traveling and they just want to look at really, really pretty travel photos, right? And then there's certain days that are always going to be really popular. So like your Monday and Thursday posts are always going to be your most high engagement. Generally, you have to look at your own analytics, right, and figure out what are the days that your audience is there. But if you are just starting out, your Monday and Thursday posts and Sunday would be the most that people are going to be on. So you got to make sure that those posts are going to be like your all-stars, right? Those are going to be right off, your varsity, and then the rest of the days can be your JV posts, right?
But I was going to say, too, just for people who don't know, like the analytics are only there for business accounts, right?
Correct.
You don't have it for personal.
Yes. So both of my accounts, now that I switched my personal account to a business account, I get analytics for there as well. I strongly suggest you always keep an eye out on your analytics. If you're going to try to do anything entrepreneur-wise, whether you're starting a brick-and-mortar store or a service or you're doing blogging, I strongly suggest you have one account be a business account, because that way you can give those numbers to people that might want to give you like a partnership or a sponsorship. They want to see those numbers. I use Hootsuite to plan out all my posts, and then I actually use Hootsuite just for Twitter and Instagram. Facebook, I actually go into Facebook because it is the links show up a little bit better, and it's just the algorithm, the back end of it for Facebook. It's easier for me to go in there and just schedule it, and I can get the most.
And it used to, I don't know if it still does, but on Facebook, when it would be scheduled from Hootsuite, it would say schedule
from
on Hootsuite.
Yeah.
And you can actually schedule from Facebook, so you might as well just use that.
So I use that, and I always try to plan like a month ahead. So those are just certain tips. So look at your year, figure out there's certain months with your particular brand that you want to do themes. So maybe if you do we went to New York Fashion Week, so maybe those weeks is all about like your fashion side, and then the other weeks can be the other parts of your business. Months could have a theme. December, it's really popular to do like holiday themes, and then you want to look at the days again and figure out which days are your most high engagement days and which times work best for you. I always suggest do it early morning. The earlier the better, because you might have people on the East Coast watching you, and then do a noon and 3 p.m. and then some people do 6 p.m. because your audience might be the audience that only looks at Instagram when they get home. So yeah, that's a lot of info. Yeah.
I would say, just going off of analytics, analytics is everything, especially in a world that we live in today where there's just so much being thrown at us all the time. There's a lot of content floating around out there. So what I like to do is for each individual photo, you can actually look at the analytics and see how that photo performed. So I find it interesting to see how many people saved it. Do you guys ever look at that?
Oh, no. I don't look at the save. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so I like to look at that.
Save a post. Why would someone save?
So obviously somebody saved it because they were either interested in that content, or it was just inspired by it. Yeah, so they saved it. So I like to look at that. Just to see which posts are getting saved and which ones are not. And sometimes it's photos that I personally was just kind of this is like a JV post, right? I'm just kind of whatever. And it killed it. I'm like, what is it about that post that my audience liked? And then it gets me to think a little bit more, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I need to do more stuff like this. So it's interesting, it's another way to listen to your audience, and they're not really communicating with you, but it's like they're communicating with you through the numbers. So just something interesting about that.
I never knew that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I always wondered, when I save something to a collection, who knows about this?
Oh, they know.
Okay.
If they're paying attention, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So my answer is going to be a little bit different, because I don't consider myself a driver of conversation unless I'm asking the other person questions. So when it comes to things that I'm up to, which is usually a lot, I used to feel really confronted when I'd run into someone at the store or on the lake, and they're like, hey, what have you been up to? And I'm like, oh crap, what do I tell them about? Because I've been up to a lot. So the reason why I use social media, and specifically Instagram and Facebook, is so that people can see what I'm up to. So when we see each other, oh, hey, I saw your poster. I see that you've been doing this. So in my content curation, I'm strategically thinking about, okay, when I
future conversations?
Yeah, future conversations. What do I want people to know? What shall we be talking about? Are there particular things related to my business or my interests that I want to kind of engage around? So it's a really great tool for that because you know that people are scrolling and they're watching, and once they see that post that's interesting to them, that's a thing that we can talk about when we run into each other.
It's so funny because I used to feel so awkward about that when you're like, oh, you haven't seen someone in like 10 years and they're like, oh yeah, so, your baby's so cute, or whatever you want to say, and you're like, that's kind of weird.
I still trip out about that too. And I want to say it's almost like our generation still like getting used to that. Like, I don't need to fill you in on anything.
Yeah, just you're on my IG, right? Just check it out. Okay.
I was being interviewed yesterday for another podcast, and I met this woman. She's in Detroit, and during the interview, and I didn't realize how much research she was going to do on me. But she's like, "Oh yeah, happy anniversary," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, thank you for that." But I'm like, I did post 12 photos of the hubby and I, so naturally everyone would know that. So I guess going back to like posts, and something you said, I don't know if you've had this. Have you ever had a post where you're just like, you didn't like it, but everyone else liked it, and what did you learn from that post? It's like, you're like, oh, because sometimes I wonder if people like it because that's what they associate you with. You might, because as your personal brand, you might have 3 adjectives, but everyone really associates you with that one adjective more than the other 2.
Actually, well, I don't know if it's that I didn't like it, but the post I just did the other day for doing the damn thing with the Think and Grow Rich, the book of Think and Grow Rich, like that literally just came in the spur of the moment. I was like, oh, we should take a picture. This is an entrepreneurship like thing, and I took a picture, and it's the most like comments we had were people saying like, oh, I love this book, or like, and it was just a picture of the book, and I thought that was really interesting, but it made sense since that's really what we're trying to drive anyways, is entrepreneurship or building a business. So from that, what I learned was that we need to also, currently we have a lot of videos, and like we're just starting off anyway, so we're building our audience, but that mixing in some of those tools and resources that other people share will help to drive engagement too.
I think one thing that I learned was, I don't know if there was like things that I would learn from like those one-off posts where like I was kind of like and then they like did so well. I guess like an overarching theme that I learned was to just post everything. Like, don't be so particular about your posts. And when I first started blogging, I'd be very particular. I'd be like, oh, well, I don't like the way my foot is, or I don't like the way my hair is, I don't like that. Like, I would just nitpick it. And then after a while, I was like, I need to stop doing that. I need to just post it. And as soon as I changed my attitude, like, I realized people don't care about certain things,
And they
people
don't even notice it.
They don't see what you see. Yeah, exactly. So now I tell all my friends, whenever they ask for any help on their Instagram, I'm like, just don't think about it. If you like it, just post it. Don't think about it. Don't make it more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, especially for my personal business. One, it's just my life, but one of the things that I realized is I was trying to make it perfect, and like everyone has like the same filter, like sort of like the magazine, but I realized, people just want to know what I'm doing. I do know every time I do post a photo with Nick, or even if it's just of Nick, it gets more likes than with me. So I'm like, thanks guys, really appreciate that. So I'm like,
well, you know that a lot of your audience is women.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Really interesting.
It's sort of funny. I have more men on my Instagram than my Facebook, so I think that's
you mean as far as followers?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think that's just natural. There's more men on Instagram and Twitter than on Facebook in general. So if you're trying to target that audience, those would be the social media channels to use. But that, and then also anytime I post like photos of just like me being casual, not posing, like just being casual, and I don't even think I look really that great, that gets a lot more like likes, because I think people want to see you be real, and I'm like, but I really practice my pose for the other one. I did a lot of work.
So you learn save your effort.
Yeah.
Save your time. Go have an extra cup of coffee.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm totally like I was so engaged. In the conversation. I'm like,
tell me more.
What was the original? I was just
Or like a
lost in
post,
everything.
like maybe like a post that you didn't really like, but everyone else liked, because that's maybe what they associate yourself with.
I don't really have one in particular that I can think of, because all my posts are popular. Just No, not at all. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the ones that tend to get a lot of attention for me are like the ones of me and my boyfriend, or like I just posted one of me and my family at my mom's 70th birthday.
That was a nice one. by the way.
Thank you. Yeah.
I looked
Like,
at
I have
that
my
I like
for a
that one
while.
because I don't see a lot of like your family. I always
Yeah.
like the family posts because like I don't know about you guys, but like with everything I do, like my life is a lot on social media. That I tend to not post a lot of photos of me and family because when I'm hanging out with them, it's sort of decompress time. But then I realize, oh, people might want to see the people I'm related to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ones I really like to see are seeing people be happy.
Yeah.
Or, like doing their damn thing, whatever that is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, yeah. You know, I'm like, yes. Oh. You know, I'm like, they're cheerleading while I'm
Yeah.
looking through the feed.
Yeah. What about hashtags?
Yes, please. Thank you.
So I feel like hashtags, I'm still trying to figure out the popularity of this hashtag. Like, the best hashtags to use, right? You create your own hashtags for your brand, but there's certain ones you should always use because they already get like a lot of like follows. Funny story, so with all my personal photos, I always use the hashtag like Founder's Life and Writer's Life. And I went to a networking event like a year ago, and I was talking to a woman that I haven't talked to in like 2 years. We were like on the same board or something. And she's like, yeah, I've been seeing all your posts, Founder's Life. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, okay, good, it's working. I'm gonna keep that hashtag. I love that.
Well, what I like about Instagram is when you do the hashtags, it auto-populates and shows you how many people have used that hashtag.
Yeah.
And I find that that's so awesome.
So then
Yeah.
I guess, do you go with people with the hashtag that a lot of people are using, or a hashtag that maybe it's like on the rise, or one that's not going to use a whole lot because then your post is maybe going to be the most popular post in that hashtag?
Oh, I never thought of it that way.
I do a combination. So I'll do some really popular ones because a lot of people are looking, but then I'll also use some that don't have a lot of visibility because then you're higher up when someone is searching for that particular hashtag. But I always mix them up. So like every time I do a post, I always change up the hashtags. Just because I used to only use the same hashtags every single time. And I didn't see it really doing much for me and for my numbers. So now I find that whenever I mix them up, like, you know, I might do like hashtag fashion one day and then the next day I'll do hashtag fashionista. So just like a little way to like kind of mix it up, and both still get like, I think like over 1 million.
Yeah, well, that's what I like about Instagram also. I mean, I really do like I'm enjoying learning more about it because but one of the things is that, and that's the thing that Facebook lacks, which is that just through those hashtags, there are communities and people follow your posts because of those hashtags. Like, you really actually feel the effects of that. Whereas on Facebook, I feel like you're just kind of putting it out there and not, and again, since you can't really, people have privacy stuff on their Facebook and stuff, you can't really get to it. But that was, yeah, I really like that. Have you guys heard of Hashtagify? Wait. Hashtagify.
Yeah, I think it is hashtagify.
Yeah.
I have it.
It's a website that you can go on and you put in a hashtag and it'll tell you the popularity of it and related hashtags to that. So that's a way you could and I feel like it's okay. I feel like there are some, like, I've had mixed results with it, and I don't know why, because it's not like I've actually seen the numbers about it. I just kind of have this feeling sense from the responses of it. But maybe on Instagram it's more effective than using that tool than it was, because I was primarily using it as a Facebook tool.
Yeah.
Which was
Interesting.
yeah.
Hashtagify?
I think that's what it's called. Yeah.
We'll put that also in the description below so you guys can use it. It was funny because some of the hashtags I started using just recently, because they're so popular, like help. And they were just such standard ones. Hashtag beauty, hashtag style, hashtag fashion, but that helped with the likes.
The other day I used hashtag Saturday.
Oh.
And actually all of the days of the week have hashtags related that people actually, and I couldn't even find our post in it because by like 3 hours later there was already all of that. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing.
One of the things, speaking of hashtags, I don't like when I see people's posts. I think 20 hashtags is good. And I think after 20, like more than 20, can be like a little much. I don't like it when I see a post and it's like just all hashtags, you know? Because I'm like, or they don't put a description on the post. I'm like, okay, you're not Beyonce. Beyonce doesn't have to put a caption on her post, okay? So you gotta tell me something about this post. It can't just be like 100 hashtags describing this. Because now I'm just knowing that you're trying to get the numbers. And you're not trying to be authentic.
But I think they cap it at 20.
Really? No, there's people, like, no.
Really? I haven't seen more than... You can't put more than like 30 hashtags though. So it'll say it won't let you post it.
It'll say no more.
It'll say
Hashtag no.
No.
No is always hashtag no.
It'll say like can't post like retry or something. Yeah.
Maybe they just started doing that, or maybe that's here.
I have a question about hashtags because I see some people that put the hashtag in the actual caption itself, and then or the other people who put the caption and then in the comment they put all their hashtags.
Yeah.
Does that make a difference?
So that's what I do, and I do that so that my my caption doesn't get bogged down with the hashtags.
Okay.
So I'll have like my caption, and then I actually keep all of my. This is another little trick that I do. So in my notes, I have my like I put like all the main hashtags that I'm going to use for that day, and then I just copy it and then I paste it into a comment.
I do that for YouTube too.
Oh, interesting.
Hashtags work for YouTube?
I didn't even know that.
Not hashtags, but tags.
Tags, okay.
Keywords. And actually I know this is about Instagram, but for YouTube, you can actually set it so that it'll always have your own standard keywords, and you're just adding on the supplemental keywords.
So how do we get better followings on Instagram?
Better followings on Instagram. I mean, the biggest thing I would say is having high engagement. So when I say high engagement, that means being consistent with your posts, and then commenting and liking on other people's posts. So it could be profiles that you are really interested in. It could be your friends. It could be, maybe you searched, hashtag fashion, and there were a bunch of accounts that you wanted to like comment and like.
Yeah.
Anything to get your name out there and get your name to touch as many different accounts and posts as possible.
Because the one thing, you can't, when you tag someone on Instagram, how does that work? Because it doesn't go into your feed. Like if you tagged me, your picture doesn't go into my feed. It just goes into general, right? And then, but that's going to help you because someone will see your name.
So
that's
the way, so say, say Nicole was to tag you in a post, then that photo would show up on her feed, right? And then if you were to go to like, I'd have to like actually see the app, but I think there's like 4 tabs. Like the last one is like photos that you're tagged in. It would all the photos that you're tagged in would show up on kind of like its own feed.
And that's for you, but then how does that, does that help engagement in other ways? Now, because she's tagged me, will people be able to then say, oh, let me check out Lauren?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it helps with brands. So like if you're wearing like an all Nike outfit, right? And then you tag Nike, if you were to go onto Nike's photos of, like tags, then that would show up like on Nike's page. I mean, it would probably shoot all the way to the bottom because I'm sure people are always tagging Nike.
Yeah. Again, going back to like you want to always be posting. I realized when I took breaks from posting, it really affected my numbers because again, people every day, so much content is being thrown at you. So you always have to be in the game, right? And constantly be posting. So that way people know maybe they don't like that photo that day, but you're in their mind and they know, okay, another post is going to come, right? And they're going to continue to like. So doing this post, doing a combination of regular photos, videos, your stories, constantly just always like changing it up a bit because people do get bored if like it's the same kind of photo all the time. You want to give them a little interaction, right?
There's so much to think of, huh?
Yeah. One of the things I know I have to be better at is liking and commenting on other people's photos. Like I can like, but to take time and comment, like I have to actually give myself like put in my calendar hour break and like literally sit and like make mindful comments of people.
Yeah. Well, I notice a lot of people on ours are making just like smiley faces or awesome, and I guess that's still the people the bots reading the analytics or whatever don't know the difference of a quality comment or not. So
yeah, but I know there's like I personally want to make a list of people that I always need to comment on, and then that way I'm like mindful of it because even like for my sister's just her personal account, I remember I'm like her posts don't always show up on my feed because I'm just getting all these other people posts, but I'm like, oh, I haven't commented on a post. Let me go to her account and see like which ones I haven't commented on.
And does it make a difference if you're commenting on an influencer versus just like your best friend or something? Like someone that has more followers. If I'm commenting on theirs, would that push my analytics up or visibility up in some way? Well, clearly from seeing it, but I mean, like in the just like the bot part of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question.
Not 100% sure.
Yeah, I would imagine, and I'm just making an educated guess, because
Very educated.
I'm trying. So like if the account has like say 1 million followers, right? Then obviously there's going to be a lot more people engaging with each individual photo that person posts. So I would imagine that more people would see your comment as opposed to if it was like maybe your best friend who's got like 100 followers.
Right.
But I mean, what do I know about Instagram's algorithm? It continues to change every day.
I know.
Keep us on our toes.
Yeah, exactly.
Instagram just cracks me up sometimes because it's always changing and there's always like new popular ways that people want to interact with the app, right? So, but I still think also photos. People like the standalone photos. I do like doing videos on Instagram, but I try to make sure it's like sweet and to the point, right? I mean, they give me a minute, so I have to make sure it's sweet and to the point.
Yeah.
But I try to make sure I don't do too many videos, because there's some accounts where it's like video after video after video. Think like Will Smith, but I'm not Will Smith, so he could do video after videos. I know his videos are so inspirational and funny. I love them, but I'm like, I'm not at that level yet. When I get to that level, then I can make a video every day.
Right on.
Oh, whatever.
Glad you said yet.
Yeah. So, final thoughts on Instagram? Final tips? No?
Well, I just want to say, I really think that Instagram does a really good job with their targeted advertising. Like all of the advertising that I get for like things to buy or different things, like it's all stuff I'm really interested in. Like maybe 1% of the stuff I see, I'm just like, nah, and then I'll mark it. So I'm like not interested in this.
So you're taking part in that too. So you're
I do,
helping
but-
to like
Yeah,
guide
but
that.
in the beginning though, I feel like they still were really good.
That's cool because I don't know how they would get that. Like you're not, I guess just from your post that you're doing or whatever.
And I think it also
they're not
has to
asking us
do with
information.
the types of things I'm searching, like on Amazon and stuff like that too, because I notice there's
They're watching
correlation.
everywhere.
Yeah. But I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
I like it.
I know. I like Instagram's target ads. It's a little bit better than my YouTube target ads.
Oh, yeah?
So I know. So I watch a lot of like ASMR videos and meditation videos on. But late at night on YouTube, and so now YouTube thinks I want to be part of the Church of Scientology. I'm like, no, I have no interest in that. But so it gets me a little angry that it keeps popping up. I'm like, really? No, thank you.
Let's do a reaction video.
Yeah. All the ads that you get on YouTube.
That would be funny. I'm like, why? Why are you doing this? But yeah. So thank you guys so much again for watching our latest video all about Instagram. Thank you, Christina, again for being here.
Thanks for having me, Nicole.
So all her information will be in the description below. If you guys have any Instagram questions or tips for us, comment below. We would love to hear them and answer them. So again, subscribe, like, share, ring the bell, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye. See you later.